I think the biggest issue that I have with this Washington Commanders team, again, before we start, I preface this by saying you're not gonna get a bias or an unbiased opinion right now. You're getting a opinion, or you're getting a viewpoint from a disgruntled Commanders fan. What my issue is, it's hard for me to see the improvement year after year from the Washington Commanders. You have the names and the players to have improvement, to make improvement, but it seems like when the Washington Commanders lose, they lose pretty much the same way. They almost always play down to their competition or play up. Somebody said this perfect. Washington plays down. They are. How do you describe Washington, right? They'll play down to their competition, then they'll also win a game that they have absolutely no business winning. And that happens frequently. This isn't just a Chicago Bears Thursday night football thing. This has been happening since Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio got to town. I know it's almost sacrilegious to speak down or criticize Ron Rivera. We know about the health overcome, or the overcoming of poor health that Ron Rivera, has gone through, and for that I'm happy for. But the way that I justify if you're a good coach or not is, does your presence improve a team? Does your presence hold back a team? Does your presence even matter for a team? Those are the three categories I look at when I'm deciding if I think you're a good coach or not. For example, nobody would deny that Kyle Shanahan's presence on the 49ers is a huge impact. Positive impact, let's say that. I think the 49ers would be good. I mean, look at the team that they have, but I don't think that they'd be as good if they did not have Kyle Shanahan. Even though they've been struggling since they won the Super Bowl, I think that Sean McVay, his presence on the Rams is much better than it would be without. I think that Mike McDaniels for the Dolphins, I think his presence on the Dolphins is much better if he wasn't there. I think that all three of those coaches, Sean McVay, Mike Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike McDaniels, I think that they're all three great coaches. You have to ask yourself, with the talent that the Washington Commanders roster has this team gotten better? By the names, when you talk about names, it may have gotten better, but has this team honestly gotten better? In my humble opinion, I don't think so. I know going into the season, I said that a big question mark I had was, of course, Sam Howell. And rightfully so. We don't know, or we didn't know going into the season, how Sam Howell was going to look as a full-time starter. And I also understand that we're only now 5 weeks in, but you still didn't know. And 5 weeks in, I can honestly say that I like Sam Howell. I think that there's growing pains that, of course, are happening and need to continue to happen. But I think that Sam Howell has been really good, especially behind a offensive line that isn't the best, obviously. I mean, I think Sam Howell has been sacked the third most times in the NFL this year. So, working with what he has, Sam Howell has been really good. He's been better than expected, in my opinion. And I am not one to call for somebody's job. I know how hard it is out there finding a job. I understand that. But what I do know is this Washington team has not gotten better with Ron Rivera at all. And what's even more glaring is you look at teams in the NFL around that probably shouldn't be where they are right now, and because of coaching, they're like, for instance, D'Amico Ryans. The Texans are much better now, record-wise or not, but if you look at them play, the Texans are much better than their record. A lot of that is because of D'Amico Ryans. A lot of that is because of C.J. Stroud, but also D'Amico Ryans, and how he has been able to get the team to buy into his philosophies, and it has obviously it's still a young team, but they play incredibly hard. Nick Sirianni had probably one of the worst opening press conferences in football history. Everyone rid him off. They just came off of a Super Bowl appearance last year. And I think it's 4-0 right now. What I'm saying is your presence has to be justified either in a positive way or a negative way. And I don't feel like Ron Rivera has been a positive for this team, especially when you have Eric Bieniemy right there. You have Eric Bieniemy in the building. And when you have the names like a Daron Payne, when you have the names like a Chase Young, when you have the names like a Jonathan Allen, when you have a name like Kyle Fuller, the defense should be much better than it is, which is why I'm looking at Jack Del Rio. You shouldn't be able to script how the game's going to go in the first. I understand that you coming into the game, you have a game plan. But as a fan, I shouldn't be able to script how the game's going to go going in. That means that there's stagnation somewhere. Again, the Chicago Bears coming into Thursday night hadn't won a game in almost a calendar year. Now, I understand any given Sunday or any given Monday or now any given Thursday. But no. This is unacceptable, bro. It's like Sam Howell threw for 388 yards. Think about it. Sam Howell threw for 388 yards. Not one receiver has over 80 yards. And that's no offense on the receiver course. Like, we know what you're doing. The offensive line's not good. Defensively, the Washington Commanders has given up over 30 points in the last 4 games. Again, I'm not usually one to call for somebody's job, but I do think that, Ron Rivera, I've said this before on this podcast. You know, Ron Rivera only has one winning season his entire career. One. And that one winning season was 2015 with Cam Newton, MVP Cam Newton. And that Carolina Panthers team ultimately went to the Super Bowl. They lost, but they went to the Super Bowl. That's the only winning season in Ron Rivera's entire coaching career. I kind of feel the same way, and this is the last thing I'll say. I kind of feel the same way about Washington's head coach that I felt when they had that wild press conference pretty much announcing that they're not going to try for Lamar Jackson. When you have to ask yourself, what are you being comfortable with? Because everyone, at the end of the day, everyone wants to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable in all aspects of life. Now, some people's comfortability are different, obviously. Some people like a challenge. Some people like, quote unquote, soft life. Everyone wants comfortability in all aspects of life the way that they view comfortability. My question is, as a Washington organization, what are you comfortable in? Because if you're comfortable with Ron Rivera and you think that Ron Rivera is the coach that can take you over the top, because at the end of the day, every team's goal, day one, should be to try to win a Super Bowl. Now, obviously, there are teams better than others, but every day or day one, your goal should be to try to win a Super Bowl. And my thing is, if you're comfortable with Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio being the people that lead you to a Super Bowl, I would say, where's the evidence that gives you that comfortability? And now, if let's take out 2015, does that coach bold or instill confidence in you? Because at the end of the day, Washington is 2-3. And they lose the same way every single time. And I'm not saying the final score is always a 20-point loss, but what I'm saying is they play to the competition, whether that's down or whether that's up. And riddled with mistakes. Offensive line is poor. The secondary isn't the best. The rookie Forbes, the one that I'm like, why did you draft him over Christian Gonzalez? He got benched. I would say I'm trying to find the silver line, the positives in Thursday night. Now, outside of Sam Howell looking really good, especially in the second half, Washington lost by 20. And for some reason, you have an entire fan base. You have people that are I'm not going to say that. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.